It seems to me that your philosophy of anti-theism is a philosophy for the strong. It's a philosophy for the intelligent. It's a philosophy for the well-connected. And my experience of Christianity is that Christianity, I do believe it's true. I understand a lot of these arguments that have been put forward here. But Christianity has something to say for people who are not strong, who are not intelligent, for people who fall down. Christianity gives people a reason for dignity, human dignity. We're all created in God's image. It gives us a reason for dignity because Jesus took on our suffering and our frailties and our sin. And it also gives us a reason for hope because He conquered death. He conquered the things that hold us down. And I know that as a believer that at some point in the future I will receive a resurrection body. And these limitations that I've had to deal with for whatever reason God has will one day be taken away from me. And I guess my question for you, Christopher, is, regardless of the truth or falsity of my beliefs, I would like to know what your anti-theism has to offer in the way of dignity or hope for those who are not as intelligent as you, who are not as strong as you, who are not as well connected. What hope can you and your philosophy give to people like me and, frankly, people who are much worse off than I am?
Very well. Thank you for the question, and, if I may say so, for the way in which you asked it. But just before I go to it, I can't resist Doug's lamb challenge, which is part of the lamb challenge is, in a way, one way one could describe your own challenge to me. You remember the movie Quo Vadis? Well, you know what I'm talking about. The end of the Roman Empire, the persecution of the Christians, the throwing of the believers to the wild beasts in the Colosseum. Family in London takes their little boy to this very exciting movie. He's been begging to see it for a long time. Climactic scene comes. The arena, the Colosseum is there. The appalling scenes. The boy starts to cry unconsolably. He just can't bear it. And they take him out to the lobby and they ply him with ice cream and try and soothe him. He just can't stop weeping. They said, "What's the matter?" "I can't tell you. No, it's too awful." Finally, they gave him a simmer down. They said, "What was so terrible?" And he said, "There was a poor lion that hadn't got a Christian." Now, you accuse me, sir, of being on the lion's side of this argument. I had no idea how well-connected and wealthy and strong I looked. My reply will take, if I may, it'll have to take two forms. First, I don't think that it's true, though it's widely claimed to be true, that Christianity is particularly a religion of the weak, the downtrodden, the lost, the abject, those who have been perhaps dealt a bad hand by life in the first place. What does it mean to believe that there is a divinely supervising Father who, not just that there is a creator, in other words, not a deist belief that there must be a first cause, but a theist belief that there's someone who knows and watches and cares? What does it mean to believe that? I think it has two very disagreeable implications. One is that we are subjected all the time to a permanent, unending, round-the-clock surveillance that begins at least when we're born, some would say before, and doesn't even quit when we die. There's no privacy, there's no freedom, there's nothing you do that isn't watched over. And then you can be convicted of thought crime. You are already guilty because we know you at least were going to think about it. This is an absolute definition of unfreedom. It's what Orwell means when he says that all totalitarianism is essentially theocratic. Is this for the weak? No, it postulates a hideous strength, to borrow a C.S. Lewis term. A horrible, unchallengeable despotism that could never be voted out or overthrown or transcended. And a parody, a horrible parody of the idea of fatherhood. I have 3 children. They don't want me to die, but I'm damn sure I'm not going to see them die. They will be at my funeral. That's my job. This father says, I'll never get out of the way. You'll be dead and I'll still be here. And I'll sit in judgment on you when you're dead as well. You'll never hear the end of me. You'll never see the back of me. This is a hideous Again, tyrannical parody. And it's not a weak person speaking. It's not the still small voice of compassion. It's the utter arrogance of absolute power. All right, I hope if I haven't made that plain this time, I won't be able to improve on that as my view as we go on. That's what I believe. Now let's take a case of someone who's been dealt a bad hand. What about Fräulein Freisel in Austria, whose father, unwilling to get out of the way, kept her in a dungeon where she didn't see daylight for 24 years and came down most nights to rape and to sodomize her, often in front of the children who were the victims of the previous attacks and offenses. And it's only purely by accident that Herr Freisel is now in custody. And it's a shame that he's 76, because his life imprisonment isn't going to feel enough like that to him. I want you to just take a moment, since we're so interested in the downtrodden and the helpless. Imagine how she must have begged him. Imagine how she must have pleaded. Imagine for how long. Imagine how she must have prayed every day, how she must have beseeched heaven. Imagine, for 24 years, and no answer at all. Nothing. Imagine how those children must have felt. Imagine what they felt when they saw one of their number, the dead twin, being borne away from neglect on top of everything else. Now, you say that's all right that she went through that, because she'll get a better deal in another life? I have to ask you, if you can be morally or ethically serious and postulate such a question. No, that had to happen, and heaven did watch it with indifference, because it knows that that score will later on be settled. So it was well worth her going through it. She'll have a better time next time. I don't see how you can look anyone in the face, or live with yourself, and say anything so hideously, wickedly immoral as that, or even imply it. There, that's my